Okay, then how about two-stroke spark ignition engine? Again, we are not going to focus a lot about this type of engine, but I know some of you are very interested in this type of engine because, you know, uh, if you ride a bike, then those bike engine, usually that type of two-stroke spark ignition engine, or small vehicles sometimes use that type of small engine. Before we talk about the process that takes two strokes as one cycle, let's take a look at the engine itself. So what do you see as a difference between the four-stroke SI engine and two-stroke SI engine in terms of its diagrams? What is the biggest things that you see as a difference? The biggest difference is that two-stroke SI engine does not have valves. Okay? Instead, it has pretty kind of unique position of manifolds. Okay? There is a side manifold for exhaust here, and there is intake manifold here, which has branch that connects that manifold to the middle portion of your engine cylinder. Now, in order to understand how that engine works, let's start from the combustion process. Now, after compression process, we have high temperature and high pressure air and fuel mixture. And then there is a spark ignited from the spark plug. And it suddenly becomes very high and in terms of temperature and pressure, that pushes the piston down from that is originally located at the top. Okay, so right after combustion, we begin to see the expansion process by moving down piston. Okay, now please imagine what really happens in terms of exhaust process at the same time while this piston moves down. Okay, so as the piston moves down, a certain position of piston, now you begin to see certain hole or opening of the at the intake, the exhaust manifold here. So as around when the piston moves up to this portion, while during the expansion process, at the same time, exhaust process should begin as well. Okay, so they are kind of combined between expansion and exhaust blow down. During this, downstroke, the valve of the intake portion is also open, okay? And fresh air and fuel mixture is taken into the cylinder, but on the bottom side of this piston. So when this piston moves to the bottom, then your exhaust, there's almost done, completed, process of exhaust blow down. And because the cylinder is quite empty, now this fresh air and fuel mixture is pushed by the down movement of piston, and we have certain branch pipeline here. So air and fuel mixture can be moved, can flow through this branch to take up the empty space of the upper part of the cylinder. Then the piston begins to move up to make a compression process. So usually you can imagine that, because we don't have any valves, there are always certain possibilities that exhaust valve can flow back to the fresh pipelines for air and fuel mixture. And at the same time, also this whole fresh air and fuel mixture can be leaked through this exhaust, even though they are not combusted. So there is always certain big losses. And that's why the two-stroke spark ignition engine is not as efficient as four-stroke spark ignition engine. So, that's why those type of engine is only used for small, type vehicles like bikes or motorcycles.